We have breaking news to report this morning. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani has been hospitalized at a Florida hospital. He is in critical but stable condition. Known as America's mayor for his leadership after 9/11, Rudy has remained a prominent figure in national politics. At this time, there is no official word about why he is hospitalized. His spokesperson, Ted Goodman, released this statement saying Mayor Rudy Giuliani is currently in the hospital where he remains in critical but stable condition. Mayor Giuliani is a fighter who has faced every challenge in his life with unwavering strength, and he's fighting with that same level of strength as we speak. We do ask that you join us in prayer for America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani. The president also posting this: our fabulous Rudy Giuliani, a true lawyer and the best mayor in the history of New York City by far, has been hospitalized and is in critical condition. What a tragedy that he was treated so badly by the radical left lunatics, Democrats, and he was right about everything. They cheated on the elections, fabricated hundreds of stories, did anything possible to destroy our nation, and now look at Rudy. So sad, he says. We all pray for Rudy this morning for a full recovery. As you know, Rudy's show is every night, weeknights here on LINDELLTV. And what a blessing he is to our network and to the country. God bless Rudy, and may he get well soon. Now to a huge win in Michigan, a 2020 election case dismissed. Attorney Peter Tickton with us this morning to discuss the case against Stephanie Lambert. Mr. Tickton, good to see you. Congratulations on this court win. For our viewers who aren't familiar with this case, let's start from the beginning with the 2020 election.
Well, after the 2020 election, there were, to most of us, it was obvious that something was wrong. I mean, you can't have a situation where no state ever before stopped the count. And then, I mean, even in wartime, it didn't matter. Hurricanes, forest fires, it didn't matter. No state ever stopped the count before. And then all of a sudden, four swing states where Donald Trump was ahead, stopped the count at the same time. So right away, you knew something was up. And then when you looked at the graph and you could see the votes and how they tallied after they closed the polls and stopped the count, I mean, then it was almost all for Biden, and ultimately we wake up in the morning and the whole thing was changed. So we've seen this over and over again. We've seen it since then. But in 2020, there was a county, Antrim County in Michigan, where the vote actually got flipped. And Stephanie Lambert is an attorney that's been involved in this and in the election fiasco from the beginning. She's really one of the leading lawyers in America on this entire topic. So, and I'm honored to be able to represent her. The Hillsdale case, she actually filed her own motion in that one. I didn't enter that case yet. I was getting prepared to. But we both felt that she pretty well had it beat because that case is based on the same AG of Michigan, who basically was saying that she had given confidential information and it was the statute that provided that it was confidential. But on looking at the statute, there's nothing in it that says that it's confidential. And fortunately, we still have some good judges in Michigan. And this particular judge looked at the paperwork that we presented, or that Stephanie presented, and came to the conclusion that we were right, that there's nothing that makes this confidential, so there was no crime. And the case was dismissed with prejudice. So it's done. That one is done. There's still another case that's pending in Oakland County, where I am on the record there as being her counsel. And we expect that case also to be dismissed. But, there we have a judge who makes up the law. I hope he's an honest man and just misguided. I don't know. I can't say what's in his mind. But for some reason, he thought that it would be a good jury instruction on the issue of what she's charged. She's charged for unduly, this is what the statute really says, okay, unduly possessing election equipment. And the the attorney general who started that case as well, has basically submitted a jury instruction and says what that means is that you don't have the permission of the Secretary of State or a valid court order. Well, after Antrim County, where the vote literally got flipped, in other words, Antrim County is a red county. There's no way in the world it's ever going to would have ever voted for Biden over Trump. And yet it did. So it became very suspicious. And it turned out that there is a box that can be checked in the computer, basically, that will cause the vote to flip. Which means that everybody that voted for Donald Trump, those votes went to Biden. Everybody voted for Biden, those went to Donald Trump. And that's why Donald Trump lost that county, because somebody was in that computer that was able to do that. And we know now, well, we didn't know then, which some brands of computers, of these voting machines, actually have phone chips in them. The Dominion machines are communicated to through a VPN. It has a private, a virtual private network that basically is communicated to, and we know this for a fact as well. For one thing, we have a situation where one of the clerks using Dominion machine unable to access the program, and they were able to do it.
Mr. Tickton, I believe we lost your video there. We can hear you, but we can't see you. I know that, yes, there are some issues with the machines. We have been knowing that since 2020. Hopefully we can get some of that video back from you. But this is a huge win for Michigan. And there we go. We have you now. Miss Lambert has been attacked 4 times. This is the 3rd win for her. You just mentioned we have one more case to go, and you're looking for a win there as well. What is it about Michigan's Attorney General, Dana Nessel, that she's attacking Miss Lambert so harshly?
Well, when you cheat in the election, what are you going to do when people start challenging it? You know, you attack the attackers, and that's what this is all about. You know, it's not like there's anything wrong with Stephanie Lambert. She's a wonderful person, a truthful person, a great lawyer. She's, you know, when she was a prosecutor, she had I think she had something like 2,000 cases under her belt, and you know, she's the epitome of a good trial lawyer. So, you know, what do you do?
All right, Mr. Tickton, you're going in and out, and I hate that we have to cut this interview short. Again, we can hear you, but the video is going out. But congratulations on your win. Again, huge case there regarding the 2020 election. That verdict came in on Friday. Mr. Tickton joining us this morning to talk about the case. That is a good case to follow because it shows how corrupt these leaders are in different states and how that the innocent will prevail. Again, Ms. Lambert prevailed for the 3rd time thanks to the fighters like Mr. Tickton, who she has by her side. One more case to go. They're expecting a win there as well, all resulting from the 2020 election, and we'll definitely keep you posted here. Now to our next story for today. It's huge. A special session being held today in Alabama. Governor Kay Ivey is calling lawmakers back to Montgomery again today for a special session as the state moves to redraw the congressional map yet again. Now, this comes just days after a new ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court that could make it easier for states to roll back majority-minority districts. The urgency, though, is real. This could even impact upcoming primary elections with the possibility of delays if new district lines are approved. We've been telling you about Louisiana doing the same. And so we're looking at this state as well. Alabama being called in today for a special session. Another story. We'll keep you posted with the updates here on LINDELLTV. Also, big news coming out of Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis is announcing something all homeowners dream of: the elimination of property taxes. Now, there's been a lot of talk about it for the last several months. We've talked about it here on the morning show, but it looks like it's closer to reality in Florida. Listen.
You have to do it by probably the beginning of August for sure. I think we'll do it in advance of that, but it's got to get printed on the ballot. And so the deadline would probably be the end of July, but I'd like to do it before then for sure. But now that we've got the maps done, now that they have a budget outline agreed to, they still got to go and do and color in some of the lines there. But really the property tax is what we have to do, right? And so now the negotiations are going to get a little bit more real. I've got a number of ways to do it because, you know, I get asked questions and they're good questions. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm a homestead, but should someone from New York be able to move the day after the election? All of a sudden they don't pay? I think they should pay for a time, right? I mean, like, why would we want to incentivize? And so you have these helping out local governments in the transition period. I'm for it. Rural governments, school districts, all these things. We've got a massive surplus in Florida. We're spending less money this year than we did last year, and less money last year than the year before. We've paid off 50% of the state's debt just in my 7 years, 180 years of a state, all the debt accumulated, gone, half of it in 7 years because of good fiscal stewardship. So we have an opportunity to do this. You know, there's not...
What a great governor he is. Americans are hoping that this will be a domino effect with other states following suit. So many Americans can't afford a mortgage, no less the insurance and the monthly bills, then tack on the enormous taxes. Florida is setting the standard and setting the bar high. A homeowner should own their home, not the government. Over the weekend, President Trump held a speech in Florida talking to senior citizens in the villages. Everyone is asking if Cuba will be the next on the list of countries he saves from communism. He's asked about it all the time, and he spoke about it this weekend. Here's what the president said.
Good job. An architect who's really talented, has done a lot of work for him. He's got a flair, a beautiful Hispanic flair in particular. And he comes from originally a place called Cuba, which we will be taking over almost immediately. No, Cuba's got problems. We'll finish one first. I like to finish a job. On the way back from, what we'll do, on the way back from Iran, we'll have one of our big, maybe the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, the biggest in the world. We'll have that come in, stop about 100 yards offshore, and they'll say, "Thank you very much, we give up."
And when it comes to Iran, negotiations are still underway for a permanent peace plan. A proposal was sent this weekend from Iran, the president reading over it. Meanwhile, lots happening in the Strait of Hormuz as the U.S. continues its blockade. Let's bring in veteran Colonel Wes Martin. Colonel, good to have you here on the show with us today. What's your take on this entire ordeal? You know, the Democrats are saying that this hasn't happened fast enough. President Trump keeps saying this isn't a forever war. This has been going on for several weeks now, and it takes time. He even said to a reporter this week, "Don't rush me." What's your take on this entire situation in the Middle East?
Being the moderate, I end up looking at both sides of the argument. And this thing about the Democrats saying, "Oh, it's taken too long, we need to rush it faster." This goes back to Desert Storm, when people, both in the media and in political parties, "Oh, we need to attack Saddam faster, faster, faster." And no, we need to prepare the battlefield. We need to get everything exactly ready so we fight our war, not their war. That takes care of one thing. But on the other side, I wish President Trump had gone back to the Weinberger-Powell doctrine and totally examined everything before he went in. I agree with him. Vital interests were at stake. And negotiations with Iran, no matter what Iran agrees to, they're not going to comply with. That's who they are. That's what they do. So those of the Weinberger, Colin Powell doctrine, yes, they were satisfied. But Where were the objectives that we actually knew? Were they attainable? Did we examine the consequence? Did we do a cost risk analysis? Did we get international support? Did we get American support before we began? No, we didn't. And unfortunately, right now, we're at a stalemate, but there is a solution to this stalemate, which I and our good friend Rudy Giuliani has been pushing for a long time. And that is to work with the Iranian opposition. They're there. They're ready to rise up. Matter of fact, 5 days before Netanyahu hit Khamenei's compound, there was an attack on the compound by 250 members of the resistance. 100 of them died, and they had to pull back. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps increased the security of the compound, so when Netanyahu's missiles hit, that many more were killed, which is a great thing to do to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right when you said, it's hard to negotiate with this terroristic regime. They're not going to live up to their end of the deal. So, how do you handle that if you're the president, the secretary of state, Department of War? How do you handle this terroristic regime who puts in a temporary peace plan? Then you're looking at a long-term peace plan, and they're just not cooperating, and they won't.
There will never be peace as long as the Islamic regime exists. Ever since 1979, they taken other hostages, and then the Kobar Towers, the Beirut barracks. It is a never-ending story. They tried to kill President Trump. They put out a contract for $300,000 for John Bolton, and John came back and says, "That's all I'm worth? Come on, I got to be worth more than that." And understanding John and his sense of humor, I thought it was a great comment. But this regime will never, ever work with anybody. People have to work with them. And they vowed death to Israel, death to America, and they've gone out many times to do it. So you can't trust them. Yeah, the regime has to be dropped, and the resistance is ready. I have been in continual communications with the resistance. They're ready to start fighting now. They need weapons. They need. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, you're absolutely right. But when you look at the people of Iran, it's got to be their mood has to be, all over the place. I mean, they're hopeful, but yet they're scared. They're worried. This has been 47 years of living under a terroristic regime. They're hoping that President Trump can come in and save the day. But this is going to take a lot of work. When you look at the regime, the current regime who has been knocked out, President Trump has been touting that, the second in line, third in line, they've all been wiped out. Who's running the country?
Right now, we don't know if the son, Khamenei, is even alive. We can't prove he's dead. Iran can't prove he's alive. They're operating off pre-existing plans. And Iran is very good at developing plans. They're terrible at protecting them. I haven't seen the plan on protecting of Iran itself, but I can see what they're doing. They already had existing plans on how to close the strait, how to send the missiles and the rockets and the drones over to the Gulf states, to Israel. And you can't deal with them. And you're right, the people are in a very difficult position. In January, mass protests arose because of the economic problems within the government. And this plan, I did get to see, it's how to put down the resistance and how to put down protests. Phase 4 was executed where they put machine guns on the street and they mowed down people. By Iran's own account, they killed 36,000. Amnesty International says the number exceeds 80,000. So there is that fear, but there is also that willingness. That attack on Khamenei's compound came after the 80,000 were murdered. The Baluch in the southeast, the Arabs in the southwest, the Kurds in the northwest, the Azeris in the north center, and 55% of the population is Persian. They want to see an end to this regime. We can work with them. And we have the contacts, we have the links with the resistance. State Department knows how to get a hold of them. CIA knows how to get a hold of them.
And so when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, a lot of focus there right now this morning as well. Our military is monitoring the waters 24/7. There has been some developments this morning where Iran has basically been, threatening to attack ships passing through. What can you tell us? Have you heard anything new over the weekend of what's going on with the Strait?
The U.S. Navy is starting to escort ships out. So far that we know, 2 ships have been able to pass through. Iran is claiming that they struck a U.S. Navy ship. The Navy is saying, no, I believe the Navy because Iran, you can't believe a word they say. And I remember 10 years ago, they put in one of their newspapers accusing me of being a war criminal for things I did in Iraq in 2005. And I did it with a military police brigadier general. In 2005, he was at Fort Leonard Wood. I was in the Pentagon, and we never met until 2010. So I know personally you can't trust anything that comes out of the mouth of the Iranian regime.
You're absolutely right. And so, this is a game of 4D chess with President Trump having to deal with these people in his administration as well. I know our military continues to guard the waters. When it comes to the Secretary of War, he was on the Hill last week, Colonel, and was getting a lot of flack from the Democrats about this war. And he stood up for our military and basically, in so many different ways, talked about how brave our men and women there are on the front lines, how great of a job that they're doing. And he's keeping their mood positive, I guess you could say, during this time. And when he's telling the Democrats, you're basically putting them down. Don't talk to our military like that. Shame on you. I was watching a video about that last night. When it comes to our military, you're a veteran. What's it like for them? They have to trust their commander in chief and their Secretary of War during this time. But what do you think it's like for them overseas right now?
Let me say this about the United States military, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. 1, we serve the nation. We defend the Constitution, we rally to the flag, and we fight for the one on the left and the right. Yes, Congress is going to end up saying, certain people in Congress are going to say bad things about the military, but we're fighting for the one on the left and the right. Very proficient. We got the best equipment. We got the best training, and they're going to go ahead and do their jobs. What goes on Capitol Hill is not going to faze them. I remember the Nevada senator once said the war is lost when we were in Iraq. That was a despicable thing to say, but it didn't stop us from doing our job. And we were able to do a lot of good in Iraq. Unfortunately, the Obama administration came in and basically took apart everything that we accomplished, to include giving Iraq back to basically Iran.
Yeah, well, that's good to know that they pay no mind to Capitol Hill while they're over there defending our homeland. I want to go back to the timeline on this and how the left and some of the Democrats on the Hill are rushing Trump. He was asked about that last week. I want to play this soundbite from him and get your reaction.
On the war with Iran, how long are you willing to wait until you get a unified response?
Don't rush me, Jeff. Guys like you want to say, oh, so we were in Vietnam for 18 years. We were in Iraq for many, many years. We're in for I don't like to say World War II because that was a biggie, but we were 4.5, almost 5 years in World War II. We were in the Korean War for 7 years. I've been doing this for 6 weeks. And their military is totally defeated. They're outside of the little wise guy ships. I call them the wise guy ships, the little boats that they have running around with guns in them. We'll take them out too when we see them. But
do you agree with the president here? I mean, he's been at this for 6 weeks. This is not a never-ending war so far when you look at comparisons to other wars of our past. And then also, again, 47 years under a regime. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth just last week again said that's a never-ending war. What's your take on the timeline?
Well, it's a never-ending war, certainly for the people inside Iran. And let's, to that 47 years, let's go all the way back to 1953 when they had democracy stripped from them by the Shah. So they've been under tyranny for 73 years. But the resolve of the Persian people is amazing. I've worked with thousands of them, just as I've worked with thousands of Iraqis. They have a resolve. What we don't understand in the West is what happened to the Middle East. In the 1300s, it was more advanced than Western Europe. But Western Europe went through the religious Reformation. It went through the Age of Exploration, went through the Industrial Revolution, the Age of Enlightenment, the Great Awakening, the American Revolution, and not only the United States, but all over North and South America. And then that went back to Europe. We progressed during that time. The Middle East did not, and Lawrence of Arabia told us they do not think the same way. That was 100 years ago. And suddenly we come in after World War I, and we start drawing, I mean the French and the English start drawing straight line borders. And every time we've gone into that region, we haven't done it right because we don't understand the Middle East. They have a belief over there. When I am in a position of weakness, how can I negotiate? When I am in a position of strength, why should I? Now, the part I disagree with President Trump is when he says the military is gone. No, it's not. Yes, the heads, basically the promotion system suddenly got advancements. But the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is operating off those pre-existing plans. Also, one group you haven't seen mentioned, and they're staying quiet basically because, as far as I'm concerned, they're under house arrest, and that's the regular army. They're being contained so that they will not rise up against the government. They're not being used in the field. So, no, the military is not gone, and this is not going to be a quick conflict unless we end up working with the resistance. Also, here's the problem, is that oil that needs to come out. Japan, South Korea, China, they're dependent upon that oil, and it's a heavy oil with a higher sulfur content. American oil first would have to ship it across the Pacific, and then we would end up, it's a lighter oil, so their machinery in the East is not adapt to that. They need that oil. There could be serious economic problems. Yes, it needs to be resolved, but people on Capitol Hill aren't the ones to figure out how to resolve it.
If you were a betting man, how long do you think this war would last, considering where we are today?
It depends on which road we take. Do we start working with the Iranian people? It could be a matter of weeks. If we don't start working with the Iranian people, it could be a matter of months. And in all honesty, we don't have months.
All right. When it comes to Cuba, a lot of talk. We talked about this before we came to you, Colonel. A lot of talk about they could be next. Are you hearing anything on that front?
The Cuban economy is extremely depressed as well, especially since Venezuelan oil has been cut off from them. They're ready to collapse. My recommendation there, and I go all the way back to when Castro and Che Guevara did the overthrow, that country has been going downhill ever since. And what we don't want to do is put troops on the ground in Cuba. I haven't worked with Cubans, the military, but I have worked with Hondurans, El Salvadorians, and Dominicans. Those guys are great fighters. They were awesome in Iraq. And we do not want to go into Cuba. This is not going to be Teddy Roosevelt and John Pershing charging up San Juan Hill to liberate Cuba. It's going to be a long, slow fight. Economically is the way to collapse Cuba and then bring them in as part of the Americas, and the United States can start working with them economically. We can win this one. I mean, look at Ronald Reagan. He collapsed the Soviet Union without firing a shot. There are ways to do things, and it's not always with force of arms.
Good take there. I appreciate your expertise. You have a website. I want to direct people to your website so they can follow you there. It's your name, ColonelWesMartin.com. People can go there and follow what you're doing. Also, there is a website, ncr-iran.org. Can you tell us about this website?
The NCRI, National Council of Resistance of Iran, that is the group of people that John Bolton, Rudy Giuliani, Newt Gingrich, I, and many others have been working with for years. They're the primary opposition to Iran. And I saw this past weekend they had a major demonstration in Paris. When I've attended their conferences, we've had prime ministers from all over Europe involved, and former prime ministers, I should say. They have a lot of international support. People try to condemn them and say, oh, well, they don't have support inside Iran. It was 250 members of that organization that actually did attack Khomeini's compound. It was a sub-organization. And that is how I got involved. I was working with them originally, the Mujahideen called, in Iraq, because they got trapped. Saddam had given them many bases inside Iran, 5 of them actually. And when we came in, we consolidated them into one. I first was aware of them when I was a senior anti-terrorism officer for the whole country. Then when I was called back to Iraq to be the operations chief for Task Force 134 detention operations, I worked with them a little bit, but then I became the commander of Camp Ashraf, where they were consolidated. It's an interesting organization. They are probably the most lied to and lied about organization I've ever seen. And the lies go all the way back to the Clinton administration. Madeleine Albright declared them a terrorist organization to appease Iran. And the FBI director at the time told her they're not a terrorist organization. But like I said, the most lied to and lied about organization I've ever seen.
Any final words as we start to wrap this up about this war, Colonel?
The best thing to do is to reach out and to work with the opposition and let the people of Iran, and they're going to have to settle their country after the revolution is over, the counter-revolution, let's call it that. And so we don't want to be blowing up bridges. We don't want to be blowing up power plants and everything, because they're going to need those. Reach out and work with the opposition, the Azeris, the Baluch, the Kurds, the Persians, the Arabs, and we can make this happen. Take a lesson from
Great
Ronald
advice
Reagan.
there. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great advice there, Colonel. Yes, always a pleasure to speak with you and hear your expertise. Thanks for stopping by today.
Thank you.
More to come here on My Mornings. Infant formula has been tested and we have the results. What's inside your baby's food? We'll break it down for you in our Maha Mom segment after the break.
When you read one news source, you get one side. When you read 2 sources, you get an argument. Read 40 sources, and you get the truth. LindellReport.com, the only place you ever need to visit for your news. From LindellTV, over 40 trusted outlets in one place. No editorial gatekeepers, no hidden bias. Just the day's news. Balanced, unfiltered, ready when you are. Whether you lean left, right, or straight down the middle, this is where you start your day. One click, one feed, one truth. The decision is yours. LindellReport.com. The news you need, the balance you deserve.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Too many pharmacies and insurance companies are blocking the medications that actually work. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. They give you access to treatments like ivermectin now, starting at just $2 a capsule. They also have methylene blue, hydroxychloroquine, and so much more. They're helping you stay prepared, and they've dropped their prices by 25%. Also use promo code LINDELL10, you save even more. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use promo code LINDELL10 and get the medicine you need. It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, My Pillow mattresses and My Pillow mattress toppers as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
Welcome back. In your medical news this morning, a major announcement from the president that could impact millions of American seniors. Medicare patients will soon see lower prices on prescription drugs as part of a broader push to rein in rising healthcare costs. The administration's goal is to bring down out-of-pocket costs for seniors who rely on life-saving medications every single day. Seniors will also see a decrease in drugs like Ozempic.
But this is really something that's special. I'm very proud of it. Today, I'm thrilled to announce that starting on July 1st, we will also provide Medicare patients with the coverage for weight loss drugs like Ozempic, Zepbound, Wegovy. It will be available for $50 a month. $50. Wow. Now think of that, $50 a month. So if it was $1,300, now it's $50, and the $1,300 doesn't cover a whole month. So it's really even more than that. So it's now down to $50. So that's where you get it. And also, and you remember when I cut insulin and I got it down to $25 insulin, it was $2,000. And that was before this. That was before this. I'm so glad you mentioned insulin. You know, when I got insulin done, it was at the end of my term, and I got it done, but it doesn't kick in statutorily for 2 years. And I said, I better win the election. This is going into the second election, because what a job I did. And, you know, insulin was at like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I got it to $25, but it kicked in about a year and a half, 2 years later. Statutorily, you had to wait a period of time and all of that nonsense. So I said, boy, I better win, because if I don't, some guy is going to take credit for something that I did that they could have never done.
For years, Americans have paid significantly more for prescription drugs than patients in other countries, something President Trump says is unacceptable, because it is. Now, under this new initiative, Medicare would have more leverage to push back against high prices, potentially saving patients hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars each year. Now to a special report in our Maha Mom segment today. What's in our children's formula? Testing has been done, and we have the results to show you today. We're going to break it down for you this morning. This is coming from FDA testing, starting with arsenic. Take a look at this. Arsenic was not detected in 18 out of 312 samples. That's 6%. 95% of all samples had less than 2.0 ppb of arsenic. That's part per billion. Now to a big one that a lot of moms are concerned about, mercury. Mercury was not detected in 296 out of 312 samples, 95%. Among all samples, concentrations range from not detected to 0.3 ppb. Great news there. So a lot of these formulas, it was not detected. The FDA says all samples were at least 6 times below the EPA drinking water requirements for mercury. So that's good news to report to you this morning. Moving on to cadmium. It was not detected in 106 out of 312 samples, 34%. Among all samples, concentrations range from not detected to 1.5 ppb. According to the FDA, all samples were at least 3 times below the EPA drinking water requirements for cadmium. Now let's head over and look for lead. Lead was not detected in 61 out of 312 samples, 20%. Among all samples, concentrations range from not detected to 1.1 ppb, with 95% of samples containing less than 0.5 ppb of lead. That's 8 times below the requirements. Great news to report there as well. Now, when it comes to pesticides, each of the samples were tested for 318 different pesticides. 309 samples, 99%, had no detectable pesticides. Glyphosate, glufosinate, they were not detected in any samples. You'll hear a lot about those in the news. Those were not detected in any samples according to the FDA. Again, no pesticides were detected in 99% of any samples. The FDA and MAHA are conducting these testings to ensure what our babies are drinking and eating is safe.
Great results on FDA's infant formula study. The results were terrific. Over 300 products tested, 120,000 data points, and we found 99% of products had no detectable pesticides, heavy metal levels well below EPA standards for drinking water, and the same for PFAS and plasticizers. So we're going to keep going strong on infant formula. We're revising the monograph to meet public demand. We want to see more infant formula products on the market, more competition, more innovation, lower prices, and we want to see infant formula products that can meet some of the consumer demand out there for infant formula without corn syrup, without added sugar, without seed oils, and with heavy metal content either at zero or as close to zero as humanly possible. So we're going to keep going strong on this. Thanks to all the FDA scientists involved in this very powerful and reassuring study about America's infant formula product space.
FDA just completed the largest ever testing of infant formula. Again, testing covering 300 products, part of a broader approach to deliver for American families. The national average of gasoline is now sitting at $4.56 a gallon. But who's really at fault for high prices? We'll tell you after the break. Stay with us here on My Mornings.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% US-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.
You know, most people think water's just about filtration, but in reality, it's about balance. what gets removed, what gets left behind, and how the water actually behaves once you drink it. Well, many traditional systems focus on one thing, removal. Reverse osmosis, for example, strips water down completely. It may sound ideal, but it removes minerals that our bodies need. The Century Wellness System was designed with a different philosophy. It removes common contaminants like chlorine, fluoride, and PFAS, while restoring key minerals like magnesium and improving alkalinity. It also does all this without tanks and without wastewater, and without requiring a complicated installation. It installs in about 15 minutes under your sink, so instead of overcorrecting, it brings your water back into balance. Please visit CenturyH2O.com and use promo code Lindell for 10% off your next purchase. Well, hello everyone. Well, I'm turning 65, and let me tell you, Medicare has me confused. All the junk mail and the robocalls and everything else, it honestly feels like they rigged the system just to confuse us. Well, that's why I partnered and working with Chapter. They're independent and they don't work for big insurance. They work for us. In fact, they're the only advisor that compares every single plan nationwide to find what actually fits your needs. If you're on the right plan, they tell you. If you're not, they're going to help you switch. And it's completely free. Just last year, seniors saved about $1,100 by finding a better plan with Chapter. So call Chapter at 234-LINDELL or go to askchapter.org/Lindell. Mike Lindell here. The radical left and the deep state aren't just coming for our freedoms, they're coming after our money too. For years, they've been destroying our economy from the inside out with reckless spending, open borders, woke policies that crush our businesses. And now they've left us with an inflation disaster that's wiping out the savings of our hardworking families. They don't want us to be independent. They want us to be dependent on the government. Well, that's not going to happen on my watch. That's why I partner with American Independence Gold. It's a veteran-owned company that's helping patriotic Americans fight back by protecting our savings with real physical gold and silver. And right now, they're giving away up to $15,000 in free silver and a free gold IRA kit. A portion of all the profits go to 9/11 first responders and veterans at the Tunnels to Towers Foundation. The deep state can't touch your gold, so visit MikeLindellGold.com or call 844-714-4653 right now. That's MikeLindellGold.com. Take back control.
Gas prices are up. Americans are feeling the pinch at the pump. The current average this morning, $4.46 a gallon for regular. Now, a year ago at this time, same date last year, $3.17 a gallon. Democrats are blaming war in the Middle East. But is it? If you dig a little deeper, it's more than that. It's who's running your state. Let's look at worldpopulationreview.com, a good handy website that'll tell you the truth. Gas taxes by state. We're going to start with California. The average gallon of gas is now over $6 there. $6.11 today, to be exact, the highest in the country, $6. But why is California higher than other states? Well, if you drag the mouse over the state like we're doing here, it's because 71 cents goes to taxes. The state of California is taxing you 71 cents per gallon. Let's move over to Texas to show you a comparison. The average gallon of gas in the Lone Star State this morning is $3.93. When we drag the mouse over the states, they're only taxing you 20 cents per gallon. Do you see the difference? Let's go up to Illinois. Another whopper. The people there being taxed 66 cents per gallon. Now let's move over to Pennsylvania. 58 cents. And let's head back down south next to Texas to New Mexico. 18 cents. That's it. So the increase is coming also from the states that are taxing you. Let's go to another handy website. If you go to destinationcharge.com and you scroll down, you'll find a complete list there too of how much each state is taxing you per gallon. The highest, of course, California. That's a Governor Newsom problem, not a President Trump problem. So when you start complaining about gas prices, yes, they're high. The Democrats want you to believe it's all President Trump's fault. It's all the war in the Middle East. But if you go to those two websites I just showed you, and you do a little digging, it's also your governor and how much they're taxing you per gallon. Let's see how the markets are opening today. Looking at marketwatch.com, opening bell numbers from Wall Street. The Dow, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow and S&P 500 are down this hour. NASDAQ up just a little bit. Geopolitical tensions are driving the markets today. Oil prices are swinging sharply on fears of escalation in the Middle East. And also, GameStop is proposing a massive takeover of eBay. eBay is up sharply right now. GameStop is down. We're also keeping an eye on that. But again, MarketWatch.com, opening bell, the Dow down at this hour. We'll keep an eye out toward the end of the day. Go, Marco, go. DJ Marco Rubio in the house. In your news to go this morning, the Secretary of State is showing off another hobby of his, DJing at a weekend wedding. This video is trending online. It's everywhere. This week, though, Rubio will be traveling to Italy to meet with the Pope at the Vatican. This comes at a crucial time as the Pope has been very critical of the war in Iran. That meeting is set for Thursday. A big weekend of golf at Trump Doral in Miami. The president and his family attended the WGC Cadillac Championship featuring top-ranked golfers from all around the world. Security was tight. Secret Service handcuffed a protester. They handcuffed a protester, that is, who they say tried to breach security. We have video for you right there. No word on exactly what the man did, but authorities say he did try to get through the magnetometers, which is a big no-no. Here's a quick glimpse of the president's schedule for today. He is back in Washington, D.C. At 8 o'clock this morning, he had an executive meeting. At 1 o'clock this afternoon, he will hold a policy meeting. Then at 3, the president will participate in a small business summit in the East Room. That summit is open to the press, so we will have coverage of that. Be on the lookout. And at 4 o'clock this afternoon, President Trump will participate in signing time. For full coverage, news all day long, you can log on to LINDELLTV.com. And don't forget, you can also download the Lindell TV app. It is free in your app store. Now to our Bible verse of the day, coming from the book of Peter. The Bible says this: "Seeing that his divine power has granted to us everything pertaining to life and godliness, through the true knowledge of him who called us by his own glory and excellence." And that'll do it for us here this morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. We leave you today with sights from Minnesota, home to our future governor, Mike Lindell.
When you read one news source, you get one side. When you read two sources, you get an argument. Read 40 sources, and you get the truth. LindellReport.com, the only place you ever need to visit for your news. From LindellTV, over 40 trusted outlets in one place. No editorial gatekeepers, no hidden bias. Just the day's news. Balanced, unfiltered, ready when you are. Whether you lean left, right, or straight down the middle, this is where you start your day. One click, one feed, one truth. The decision is yours. LindellReport.com. The news you need, the balance you deserve.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice, speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Too many pharmacies and insurance companies are blocking the medications that actually work. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. They give you access to treatments like ivermectin now, starting at just $2 a capsule. They also have methylene blue, hydroxychloroquine, and so much more. They're helping you stay prepared, and they've dropped their prices by 25%. Also use promo code LINDELL10, you save even more. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use promo code LINDELL10 and get the medicine you need. It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.